So, E3 is over. The big information bombs, they're gone. We can finally take a breather, you know, finally take a shower again. We can watch some Netflix, watch some porn, you know. I'm not judging. It's time to relax a bit. Do it in whatever way you want to do. There's a lot that we know about the game now, and there's probably even more that we don't know about the game. In a couple of days, I'll have a video up with all the information, everything we know about the Division 2 after E3. I'll put something together just in case you missed anything, or in case you don't want to sit through the 6 or 7 videos that I made on my channel. But today I just want to take a step back, just not go over all the details here and there, just take a step back from it all and talk to you guys about what I actually think about the game from what we've seen so far. If I believe that E3 was a success for the game, what I believe the mainstream audience thinks about the game, and you know, just let you know how I feel about it. Basically, it's gonna be a more chill video, not a whole bunch of information, but just an opinion. That's all. So yeah, so far I am very, very happy with what I've seen so far. It really seems like, and I mean it when I say this, it really seems like that the developers are finally going to be able to fix almost everything that was wrong with The Division 1 and give us the experience that we've always wanted. The Division 2 will be what The Division 1 should have been, is what a lot of people have been saying. This is the thing that I see keep going around. And I think I can very much agree with that. I still have a couple of nitpicks here and there. For example, I'd like to see my teammates' skills on the UI next to their health bar. That would be cool. Or for the weapon optimal range, I'd still like to see a number next to the graph, because the graph, it's cool, but not super precise in my opinion. But those are just very, very small nitpicks, almost so insignificant that I'm not even sure if I should bring those up at all. But yeah, from the user interface to the inventory management, to the end game, to the open world, to some of the NPCs and the player mechanics, to even the graphics, everything looks to be like a Division 1 game on steroids. So if you like Division 1, chances are you're probably gonna like the Division 2. It's gonna be a game you're probably gonna love. So yeah, there's that. But at the same time though, I think that it being so similar might also be a little bit of an issue for the game when it comes down to selling itself to the audience that isn't already into the Division. For us, for me, for you guys, for every avid player out there still playing the Division or still keeping up with everything Division related, Division 2 is gonna sound like a wet dream. A Division game where everything just works properly and where all those little annoyances about the game are just gone. Sign me up, right? Sign me up. That's what the majority of you guys are probably thinking right now, but I also believe that for the players that aren't already in that mindset, for example, the players that quit the Division 1 after maybe 4 weeks in because it just wasn't functioning properly and there just wasn't a whole lot of content, I think for those people, the Division 2 and the announcement, it didn't really do that much to blow them away, to get them really excited for this game, so to speak. When the first trailer for the Division 1 dropped all the way back at E3 2013, people were like, whoa! What's this game? It looks sick. I gotta get my hands on this. Everybody was really, really excited for it. And I think that because of the fact that the Division 1 had so many issues at launch, graphical downgrades, mediocre gameplay with not a lot of content, bugs, broken mechanics, so on, so on, so on. I think that now, you know, people that don't play Division anymore, people that quit very fast, I think that those same people, they look at the trailers for the Division 2 and they think, you know, alright, you know, we've seen this before. It's a cover-based shooter with some RPG mechanics. The first game didn't really impress me that much when it released, so why would the second game be any better? And I think that's really something. I think that the Division 2 is really going to have to prove itself to the mainstream audience this time. Of course, we get excited for all those smaller and bigger changes about the UI and the weapons and all those things because we understand what it can do for our gameplay experience. But some random guy who hasn't played the Division, he's not going to notice all those smaller things and maybe not even the bigger things. For him, I think the Division 2 looks very, very, very similar to the Division 1. And those type of people that, you know, don't see those smaller differences, they are the vast majority of the audience at E3, by the way. And I think for that audience, the Division 2 hasn't really shown anything that blows people's minds. So a lot of people feel that it's very similar to the first Division game, and depending on who you are, that's going to have a positive effect or a negative effect. For me, obviously, I already said this, it's a very positive one. I've always kept playing the Division 1, mostly because I fell in love with the potential. And with the Division 2, it really seems like it that potential is going to be far more realized. I'm not afraid that they will downgrade the graphics again because the game is coming out in just 9 months. I'm not afraid that the developers will screw something up because they're much more experienced this time around, because they've learned from the mistakes from the first game. I see that back in like all those little things that they've shown off in the gameplay and the trailer so far, so I'm confident that they can deliver a very good product. But try selling that to somebody who hasn't been around the full cycle for the Division 1, you know, that's going to be a much harder thing. Now, I'm not a marketing expert by any means, but I do think that because of all of this, the Division 2 wasn't really the game that stole the show at E3 this year for a lot of people. For us, it might have, but for the big audience, I'm not too sure that it did. I think games like The Last of Us 2, which had much more grabbing character building in their trailers, or Dying Light 2, which had this unique feature where the world changes entirely depending on how you play the game. I think that those type of games, they really had those things that gave their presentation a wow factor, and I felt that that was missing from the Division 2 presentation. Now keep in mind that just because I think that the presentation for some other games were better, when looking at the mainstream audience perspective of it, that doesn't mean that I think that those games are also going to be better. You know, I'm here for the Division 2, and for me the presentation and the additional information that the developers provided through the live stream, that was great. I'm happy they were willing to share so much information and just, you know, keep the information train going. But I think when it comes down to the whole mainstream audience, the developers are going to need to show some more explosive stuff to impress them, if that makes any sense at all. And of course, they just need to have a solid game at launch. So yeah, at this point I'm just waiting for 2 things really, which I'm not in a rush for at all. I know this game is still 9 months away before it comes out, so no rush with anything yet, but the 2 things I'm sort of still waiting for is, first up, I'm just curious to learn more about the endgame mechanics, the gearing game, the character building, because that's the sort of thing that makes the Division special for me and different from all the other shooters out there. And with them putting the endgame first, as they've been preaching over and over and over again, yeah, I've got some high expectations. And then the second thing I'm looking forward to is that I'm sort of hoping that they can convince all of those who were left disappointed by the first game to give this franchise another chance when it comes out. I know the game will have playable betas, you know, we'll have a closed beta that's already been announced. I'm also sure we'll get an open beta as well, which will most likely serve as a stress test for the developers, maybe a last chance to catch some nasty bugs before the game releases, but it will also serve as a demo for the public. And I'm just really curious to see how much people are actually going to play the beta, and if that number is going to be higher or lower than the number of players for the Division 1. Because again, the Division 1 had some crazy hype behind it that I just don't think the Division 2 has yet right now. Again, I could be super far off saying those things, but that's the feeling that I get when I watch all those E3 related videos and reading the comments under my video. When the first Division trailer came out, everybody was like talking about it. What the hell is this game? And right now, when everybody's talking about the Division 2, it feels like they're talking about, oh, it's another Division game. Either way, it's going to be a very interesting road ahead. One that I'm all ready for, as you might have noticed with all the videos that I've been spamming on the channel this past week. It's been pretty crazy. I haven't had a lot of sleep, but I guess that's pretty much the story of every YouTuber around E3, so I'm not complaining. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Division 2 a little bit with you guys. To sum it up, I am really looking forward to this game. I'm very excited for this game. I just hope that Ubisoft can convince others to also try the franchise out again. But yeah, that's going to be all for me today. I would ask you to tell me how you feel about the Division 2, but then again, I think that most of you guys are fairly positive about this game as well, because chances are, if you weren't positive about this game, you weren't here watching my videos about this game. It's basically the same thing as going to the Ubisoft forums for the Division and asking if the game is any good, if you should play the game. Of course, people there are going to answer with, yes, you should get it, because the people who would have said no, they're not active on those forums anymore. You know what I mean, right? So yeah, anyways, as always, I'll see you all later in the next video. Or, like they say in the Netherlands, zie je later.